You just said these things happen too. Sort of. There's a couple of extra words, but that's one of my favorite rappers, G-Eazy. His latest album, which he dropped 2 days ago, is These Things Happen. A week ago now that you're listening, actually, I'm thinking. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so good.
G-Eazy. What kind, is he a mumble rapper?
No. He's got a bit of groove, he's got tempo, but he's got these really cool lyrics where he talks about the come up, but in a misguided way. It's pretty interesting. The sound is okay, but like his lyrics are cool.
It's more about what he's saying than
yes.
like what actually.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I will give it a go. I will listen.
It's interesting. It's not as hard to listen to, like in terms of beat. You could.
Just put it on. You wouldn't really notice that it's bothering me because I can get bothered by music very easily.
Yeah, it's not up and down like some of the stuff I play for you.
Yeah, I don't like.
I
don't like so, Luke. I don't like some of the stuff you play for me. It's not the vibe I'm trying to match.
Welcome back to the number 5 podcast in the world, the Outspoken Show. Thank you for watching, viewing, subscribing, liking,
all of the above,
commenting.
Oh, definitely comment.
Yes, commenting. I mean, what were we saying?
You talking about G-Eazy?
Yeah, really good. Actually, we were wanting to talk about sequels in this whole episode, but actually, that album was a sequel.
Okay, talk me through it.
Well,
most albums a sequel?
I guess. But he did an album in 2014 called These Things Happen, and the new album that came out a week ago was These Things Happen Too. So it's like not that creative, but it's a very good album behind or after a very good album that was in 2014.
It's some like meta creativity thing. Like, I can't even comprehend how creative it is that he's just used the same thing and done part 2. Whoa.
It's like Kanye West in 2016 when he was doing Yeezy, and his Yeezy shirts, it's just blank. It's just a pastel color. Everyone's like, wow.
Yeah.
So artistic
his
and creative.
He
takes everything off it. Just the simplicity is artistic. It's like, no, he just did less.
Yeah, modern art. Oh, fuck, we need a cover. Oh, my God. We need a design. Yeah, imagine we did nothing. They wouldn't expect.
Imagine it was black with just white writing that said Donda. They wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah, dude, that's incredibly creative. But I could be that creative, to be honest.
It's more realistic. Yeah. It's more achievable.
100%. I feel like I could be Donda, or I could be Kanye. Yeah.
But no, I don't know if many musicians have actually purposefully, I know everything's a sequel, it comes after, it's sequential,
yes,
but intentionally done an album that is incorporating the album before.
How did they incorporate it? Did he just cover the same shit, or is
it's similar messages, but similar messages at a different point in his life, if that makes sense.
Had he had albums in between, or was it this?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because that's a long time in between albums.
Yeah, so he's done a lot of albums. He's pretty active in terms of putting out music. So I thought that was cool that it built on.
Now that I know that there's more in between, I like the idea more and more, because it's like, I'm coming back to one of these things that was good. We're going to recover some things I never got out in that first one.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. That's actually all right.
And what tipped it off is he has a song, which is my favorite, probably one of my favorite songs of all time, called Tumblr Girls. I've overplayed it though, which sort of sucks. So I can't appreciate it as much. He did a Tumblr Girls 2. It's called Running Wild, the song, but it's Tumblr Girls 2 in brackets. Yeah. And it's different. It's completely different. But it just builds on.
Okay.
It's really awesome in that regard.
Change it to TikTok Girls or something.
But Anthony Joshua lost last night. He lost a week ago to Orlando Usyk. Usyk, or more or less.
Eastern Europeans.
That's not good for him.
Eastern Europeans are fighters.
They're legit fighters.
Is he Russian? Is that...
I don't know.
Probably. The name is Russian, Ukrainian, Croatian.
It's not good for Anthony Joshua.
No. That all British Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua possibility seems like going on.
It's hard for Alexander Usyk.
It's got to be Russian. It's got to be Slovenian, Slovakian. Yeah. A Russian.
Ukrainian.
We
should have known.
I knew it. Damn it.
We should have known. Yeah. But it's going to be hard for Anthony Joshua now.
He's got to come back and beat this.
He's got a rematch clause.
Always.
So that'll be next year.
It's like...
How do you think of him as a fighter? Is he good Is he good?
Like I don't know like the in depths of boxing, but from what I've heard is like it
You can
seems
speak like you do.
yeah, he like it seems like his promoter. It's Eddie Hearn, isn't it? He's like
Yeah.
a big
One of the
deal
big
in the
titans.
industry, and it's like there's always been like talk of him fighting
Fury.
and all this, and that it never seems to materialize. It's like, is there a reason? Are we starting to see the reasons for it now?
For a long time, I think it was Anthony Joshua ducking Tyson Fury.
Yes.
But recently, it's been Tyson Fury going no. And I think Anthony Joshua's maybe he's gotten to the point in the career where he realizes the payday that it would be. But Tyson Fury has recently said no because he wants to complete the trilogy with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Which you were saying the first fight
was split draw or whatever. So
and then
draw.
he won the second fight.
He won the second fight. Apparently, like comfortably. Like he did not. It didn't look like that much of a challenge.
That was Alexander Usyk last week
pieced
against
him up.
Anthony Joshua. Yeah,
pieced him up.
it ended up going well. It went the distance.
And maybe Joshua maybe early on he was great. He was a freak. He was better than the people around him. But
Did you see what Joe Rogan shared as well?
yeah, about the 5-second early stoppage of the last round, where they're like seemed like they were trying to save Joshua because he was kind of getting pieced up on the ropes there.
I watched it back 3 times just to count it myself, and one of the comments was saying that the on-screen counter or timer is not accurate or it's not official. But
So
how out can you be?
Is this a common thing? Like, is it in most fights then? Is like the on-screen counter 5 seconds out, or is this because if that happens all the time, sure. But it seems like the way like Joe Rogan was talking about it, he watches a lot of fighting. It seemed uncommon to him that it was 5 seconds out. It's like
It seems weird, and 5 seconds is a lot.
it's a lot.
Like 5 seconds, if it was 1 second, it's like maybe it's just the way we're counting, but 5 seconds is an issue. One thing I've noticed though as well is around 10 seconds into the round will the on-screen counter appear. Mm-hmm. So it won't start at 3 minutes counting down. It'll start at like 2:49 or 2:51. So it pops up at different points in the round and then it disappears at roughly 10 seconds to go. And maybe that is why it's not the official counter because they don't want to give you the parameters that like because maybe it's the bell rings, but maybe it's not until they touch glove. I don't know, but maybe there is slight differences there.
It makes sense. I honestly would need to know how often it's out by this much. If it's all the time, then okay, it's just a. But if someone's so notable, as
the
saying
barrage
this is
of punches
weird.
didn't look like he was going to fall anytime soon. So that
and if he
it's just
comfortably
weird.
won the round, how's it even protecting him? Just protecting his face.
And yeah,
Does all to get pieced up a little bit?
and Joe Rogan's known for you like Joe Rogan. I'm starting to phase out maybe of Joe Rogan. I don't know. I'm starting to think like he's very conspiratorial. Is that a thing?
Conspiratorial, like
He has a lot of conspiracies. And I can't see the legitimacy other than it's very fucking weird that the timer. But like, I don't think he was going to get knocked out.
No,
so like,
it
why?
seems like he comfortably
why
lost.
Conspire? I don't know.
I mean, maybe he's just saying it's strange. I don't.
It is strange.
Yeah, it's like it's weird that I don't know. I don't know. He definitely loves some conspiracy theories here and there, and he's an entertainer before anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like he's into conspiracies, he likes UFOs and shit. Like, you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You more like take the advice of the people he has on that are like meant to be an expert in some specific field, and you build from that.
Yeah.
But it's like it's interesting because like I don't know, but we're more interested in the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury now. Or does it matter if he then goes on to verse Alexander Usyk? Because like that whole thing of those three, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury for a few years, and Joshua, that was the thing. Like, oh, they're all going to fight each other. It's actually going to bring boxing back. People are going to love it.
The thing is, there's no like even watching the face-off between Anthony Joshua and Usyk, they're just standing there. They're like this against each other.
It's kind of like old school, or not even old school because people would talk shit, but that respectful fighter.
Yeah, it's like, why are you being polite for? Like, give us some shit. Like, give us, like, take his hat.
See, I like the respectful shit. But it doesn't
Can you
make
care
me,
about a fight the same way though?
Yeah, I don't care about many fights that much anyway.
Like last night's fight was bigger for boxing than Jake's pool fight is. But we did tune. Well, we were at work. It's shit that it's on a Monday, but I feel like more attention was paid to the Jake Paul fight,
But part of that is people you surround yourself with.
and I'm probably the reason
You're the
for
one
that.
who's pushing it more. I probably wouldn't be as interested in the Jake Paul stuff. I can see what they're doing and why.
I think you would see it more though.
I would see it more for sure. To be honest, maybe I wouldn't, because I would be listening to the podcast I listen to, are always pushing the legitimate fights, even though I don't watch them that much. I don't know. I don't think it feeds for me that much, but I understand lots of people who don't really give a shit will go for the thing that's drawing all the attention in the. But fake beef, I hate fake beef. If it's fake to me, it makes
But it's
me
not.
so annoyed.
Like some of it's not though. Like
Some of it?
hatreds exist.
Yeah.
Especially when in boxing, like I don't think there's much fake beef in boxing. I've heard the Mayweather McGregor fight there was a lot.
Oh, for sure.
But apparently they were flying together. They were in the same private jet.
They were in a business agreement there. There was not of animosity there.
But in a lot of instances, like when you go into the ring or the cage, like you're gonna war with that person.
You've got to hate them for those 2 minutes. Like you got to be like, make sure you don't like.
You can't treat them like your friend.
No.
You don't hit your friend. Like
Yeah, I mean UFC I think does more of the fake beef though. I think UFC pushes it. Boxing, I don't know.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's as much shenanigans and
Just
antics.
the politeness made me think boxing should be. I guess you can't force a person to be their own promoter, but I feel like a good enough job isn't being done to care about the fights when you've got the Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, like a big three that are all going for potentially the unanimous or the unification of the division.
And there was shit talking those, at least those first Fury and Wilder fights.
Fury is good.
Fury's
good at that.
There was lots of shit talk.
Yes. Fury's
funny shit.
hilarious. He's an
Fury's
entertainer.
good. Like you need the charisma though, because if you try, it's when they don't have charisma, they don't know what they're doing, and they try to shit talk.
Yes.
And you're like, you're just not good at this. Like
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Floyd Mayweather's like that though. You pay some respect because he's 50-0, or is he 50 or 51?
I feel like it's 51, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't remember.
You pay some respect because he's at a different level, but his is bad. Like against Logan Paul, it was shit. It was shit talking.
It's a 50-year-old man trying to shit talk.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to keep up with a
Yeah.
20-year-old shit talker who's
Yeah.
ex-Disney star, moved through YouTube and everything.
And Jake Paul was talking about it against Tyron Woodley and going, like, it's hard. Ben Askren was a lot better at it. But he would try and make memes and stuff like that, just trying to get Tyron Woodley to respond. And he'd just reshare his story. And that's all it is. And he goes, like, just boxers don't understand how to promote a fight.
Okay, but these are the older guys. It's like telling your or showing your dad how to use a phone. It's like
Yes, but they're in the business of... It's
100%.
like if they're
But when
the
they
phone seller.
yeah,
They need to be...
but think about it. Coming up now, if you're a boxer or a fighter, you understand that you need to be able to promote yourself through social media. You're comfortable.
Shaking the desk.
You're comfortable with the social media environment. You know what you got to do. It's built into the process.
Yeah.
You were coming up 20, 30 years ago. You just got there, you fought. Like, you couldn't do anything. You would get interviewed by the promotion or whatever, and that would be the hype for the fight. And right before, you've got the standoff, and that was the promotion.
Which is why Muhammad Ali was so rare.
Yeah. Yeah. So then trying to change the way you've done it. So I think it's harder for a lot of the older guys who can't adapt. It's like anything. Old people don't like to adapt. And old in boxing or in fighting is like 40-year-old guys. Adapting's tough.
Yeah.
The ones who can will succeed. So it's like the new crop, it's just going to be more and more of the shit talk, I think. Like even this Alexander Usyk, he didn't look that young.
I'm not sure how old he was.
And those guys, like even the Russian guys in the UFC,
He's 34.
their shit talk isn't the one that is getting it.
Yeah.
Like Khabib's when he fought Conor, his shit talk was like response to being called out essentially. Like,
But he did...
he worked it out.
Like his crew, they jumped the fence or he jumped the fence, like, I can't remember. But there was actually, like, shit going on. Like, that's
was
better.
real. That
That's
was
better.
real, which is funny. It's just like,
Yeah.
you need to actually make the person hate you.
Yeah.
Because that was real and that was crazy.
So,
But
I don't know.
I mean, I'll probably watch or be interested in following the Fury Wilder thing.
That's in probably 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I think, start of October. 9th of October.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'll follow, but
it'll be interesting.
it's like sequels, 3 in a
Yeah.
row. Like,
You don't go to 4.
yeah.
So,
How many sequels are too many? Like,
Well, yeah, but you don't go to 4. So what happens with Fury? What happens with Wilder after that? If Anthony Joshua win? Does he go fight Tyson Fury and try and get the bag again?
I would imagine that's what they'll do. It's weird though because people want to watch Joshua if he keeps losing because two losses in boxing is like
That's a big deal.
you're fucking shit.
Yeah.
2 losses. That's like Deontay Wilder's probably like screwed if he loses again. What if he wins though? Because it'll be 1-1 and a draw. Is that how they got it?
Maybe they go to 4.
I mean, what a disappointing,
Yeah.
disappointing end to the sequel.
It's hard to sell a quadrille.
Yeah.
A trilogy? What I don't know what 4 is.
How many times can you go back to that same pond?
Netflix have announced that they're going Tiger King season 2.
Okay. How? He's in
That's
jail.
that's the thing.
Joe Exotic
Like,
is
where does it
in
go?
prison. What is it turning into?
I think unfortunately
Prison
did too
King.
well. Undeservingly did too well.
Oh, it capitalized on that early COVID days where everyone was at home and there was nothing else. Like, a guy fucking takes care of tigers? Let's go.
But what are they going to cover?
Yeah, what are
Because
they
Carol Baskin isn't in it.
Yeah, the villain of the
And-
episode, even...
Yeah, unless you're showing was it Don Lewis? What's his name?
Oh, fucking hell.
Don someone.
Yeah, the Buddhist. What is he? Bhagavan.
Don Lewis. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wait,
Don
who's,
Lewis. It
who's
is-
Don Lewis?
He's the guy that got killed. We want to know
Oh,
how
yeah,
he got
yeah,
killed.
right. Yeah, yeah. I was
So
trying to think of the other
unless
tiny
you
thing.
explain that to us,
Yeah.
sure we'll watch, we'll listen, but give that to us in 45 minutes. We don't want 10 to 12 hours.
7-part true crime series of...
Even the first season. Did you watch it?
I watched it. Yeah, yeah.
Even the first season doesn't need to be that long. Like there was 3 big moments.
A lot of just random, random shit.
But what do you go into now?
This is what I don't understand. Like,
He's in jail. Nothing's changed.
so it's definitely going to be a limited series or whatever, where it's multiple episodes, or are they just doing a 2-hour movie exclusive?
I believe Netflix has said it's another season. They've said season 2.
Going to that well again.
So it's just going to be jail tapes.
Jail tapes and probably just a combination of footage they never released with the first one. Like, what? I don't understand the point.
It's probably cheap
That's it.
and
That's got to
like
be
a
it.
pre-sold franchise of movies where they talk about where people will watch it just because. But Tiger King wasn't that good.
No, overall, looking back, I only watched it because I heard so much about it,
Yeah,
and it was interesting for the first few episodes.
but it wasn't that good.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, guy looks after tigers, mistreats them because, you're not keeping tigers in the wild. You're probably a bit of an asshole if you're like caging them up and catching them and breeding them and shit. It's
Yeah.
like, I wasn't surprised by anything, but his charisma and shit sold it. But what are they going to talk about in prison? Is it
But that's the thing. Like,
has he got tigers in prison? If he's got tigers in prison, that is some good shit. I want to know why they've let him have tigers in prison.
So often though, people should just stop making sequels.
Oh yeah, Fast and the Furious. I'm coming at you. Like,
Stop.
Fast and Furious.
I don't even watch movies.
Didn't The Rock say he's done now with them? Like, he came in for 6 and he's like, all right, even I know this one's
Well, I only say that because I don't know dickety fuck about movies, and I know that Fast and Furious, everyone's saying, should stop.
Yeah, you know very little about movies, but you're right on this one. Like, sequels for the most part. Look, some sequels are all right, but it's usually 2, 3. When you're going back 8 times...
Do you reckon that's because the writers, they spend so much of their career creating a script in the hopes that it gets picked up, and it does, but they don't expect for it to be run back 2, 3,
Yeah.
9 times in Fast and
I've heard this talked about by some creator on some podcast or whatever, but they were talking about it. Like, the reason a first season of a lot of these shows you watch is incredible, and it's very hard to get a good second, third season. It's because, like you said, that's a script they've been developing for at least years or their whole life. So
It's a life's work.
Yeah. So once it gets picked up, boom, they've got that season, but now they're obligated to produce 3 or 4 more seasons. So you've
In
got
a time frame.
Yeah, you've got 9 months to make what you did over 10 years. And it's rare that they can get it as good as that first one. It's been done because there's been some really good seasons.
What's Harry Potter like?
Harry Potter,
What's that movie sequel like?
good, but that's because they all had a book based on them before. She
Okay.
had spent all that time obviously creating those books, and it followed really well. It all interlinked. I mean, I stopped caring seasons in, but that's because they outgrew it. I don't think the movies got any worse. They kind of got better, I think, as a...
So, how did it? What was the order? Did book 1, book 2, book 3 come out, and then movie 1, movie 2, movie 3, or was it
I believe it was
book 1,
kind of
movie 1,
interlocked.
book 2, movie 2?
I think there was a 3 or 4 out before the first movie, and then she was making books as they were making movies, so she was just keeping a bit ahead of them. And I think as a franchise, that one did well, but it ended, and they knew where to end because its story ended.
Yes,
These ones that keep going to the well, it's like, it's crazy. There's very few that.
but it's also rare that I imagine that a writer would actually go, "No, this is the end of the story." Money Heist. I love Money Heist, but it's giving me the shits because they know they've got something that people will watch. It's another pre-sold franchise.
Yep.
People are going to watch Money Heist for Money Heist. So they're spending so much time in the past developing a character and explaining its actions in the future that they did a 5-episode series, but it didn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like not much changed in the whole plot. It's just... How long do you keep watching? How long... It's hard to keep following.
Because I think if you watch a series enough, if you've seen 4 seasons of it, you can tell if the next one's different. You can tell if something's off and then they've clearly done something else. This happened with Game of Thrones. Like, they followed the books apparently pretty consistently for the first 5 or so seasons. Then the guys directing it had the rights and they had creative control. They changed all the shit, and you can just tell it's different. And they've decided to go for these grand episodes where these very visually, like, incredible things are happening, but there's not that much substance to the story going on. And it's like, everyone still watched it. That's the thing. The whole of season 6 was kind of shit. Whole season 7 was, like, dog shit. And that's how it ended. And it's like, it was such a good thing for 5 seasons. And because of that, even though people were watching knowing it's not as good now, I think everyone still finished it off. So it's like, what do we want as consumers? Do we want new things all the time? Or are we okay with something we like being done not as good, but we know we like most of it?
The biggest ever question.
Because it seems like we like that. People still rewatch Friends, all right? They watch reruns of Friends. It's probably still one of the most played things on whatever platform it's on. Because they know it's good. They know what happens in it now, but it's like, it's pleasing that you're watching something you know is going to be good.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. And that's why sequels succeed.
But people are selfish in that regard. Because they want it all. They want to be able to binge you forever. Which is fantastic. But it's very hard to keep up with that.
Yeah. It's like, because then you got to keep trying to create that new thing to compete with the thing that people love and have grown up with.
Yeah.
But you got to get them onto something else. Like it's like that first love. Never forget.
Haven't been there yet. But I'm a fan of Impulsive, Logan Paul's podcast. And at the moment, well, for the last 3 or 4 months, he's been doing his boxing thing with Floyd Mayweather. And I think he's traveling. So the podcast has been inconsistent. It's been irregular. And it sort of pisses me off because I watch the episodes when they come out. And not being... It's sort of a trust thing. Like I want to be able to trust and know.
Yeah.
And when he was doing 2 episodes a week, on Wednesday morning, Friday morning, I wanted more.
Yeah.
Like you can't do enough.
Yeah, there's gonna be enough.
Yeah, people are selfish.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And depending on how much you like them, you'll get over if they let you down a few times. Like you're probably like okay with the inconsistency.
I'm managing
now.
it.
Yeah,
but
he's let me down so much.
But no, I know this won't continue forever because there'll just be a point where it's like I don't know what it'll be, but you struggle to get as invested in a I imagine in a relationship if your partner stops showing up or isn't as invested, you're going to eventually not be interested.
Yeah. And imagine if multiple partners, so if multiple podcasts start becoming inconsistent, you're going to become your trust issues are just going to grow and grow. And you're going to be like, I can't trust any podcast like I used to trust this one. None of you are getting any of my shit.
Podcast.
Yeah. You guys, you let me down. I can't let myself down. If I do, it's okay. If I access the
Mum and my sister went to a movie on the week a couple of nights ago.
Oh, still exists.
Sorry?
The movie theaters still exist.
They still exist, but there's one other group in the cinemas. Apparently it was just a really shit movie and they were saying they didn't get the letter. I don't know if it's like that for good movie. I haven't been.
What was the movie?
I also don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
I wish I know. So
I couldn't even tell you what movies are out in the cinemas at the moment. There's no hype around it. No one cares. What's the next thing on Netflix? That's what I'll watch.
That's what matters. Well, we are asking the question, when's James Bond coming out, to be fair.
But that's like, we're not knowing what's coming out. We're waiting for the specific thing. Like, it's these new movies. It's like, oh, is there a Jurassic Park coming out? I like that franchise. That's a great sequel, Jurassic Park. I binged that when I was freaking in isolation. Like, but again, rewatching an old franchise that I liked.
But you'd seen it before.
Yes.
How many times have you...
As a kid, it's probably countless times. Like, I remembered, I hadn't seen these movies in years, but I knew exactly what was going to happen next in almost every moment. But I still watched it because I wanted to see it again.
Bit of nostalgia.
I became a victim to it, but mostly I don't like rewatching things too much. There are very few things I'll rewatch. Like, I won't watch Jurassic Park now, probably for 25 years.
What other movies have you rewatched? I've rewatched The Wolf of Wall Street a lot. Goodfellas, I've watched a lot. And for me, I don't experiment with movies as well, so I guess if I find something, I'd just
rewatch it.
But I don't rewatch that often, but there are a couple. Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, A Bronx Tale. I really want to rewatch Goodwill Hunting. I haven't rewatched it yet, though, but that's one of my favourite movies.
Yeah, The Departed, I think, is probably what I've watched. I've watched that.
Is that with Leo?
Times. It's got everyone. It's got Leo, I think it's got Leo, Matt Damon. It's got like what's the Batman, the shit Batman, the one Batman that was shit, the Ben Affleck. It's got like heaps of people. It's got all these really like dope guys who in a lot of good movies. I think it's got Jack Nicholson or Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, it's Jack Nicholson is
Mark
the golfer.
Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's like an elite cast. Like that's one of my favorite movies ever. That, like, Pulp Fictions. I've watched a lot of Tarantino movies over and over again.
Do you watch it because of Tarantino?
I will watch a new one every time because of him. It's the only movie franchise where I watch because of a director.
That's what I was getting to. Like, that's weird that a director's selling a film, and Spielberg's maybe the only other person like that. But I feel like
he did the Jurassic Park, I think. Spielberg.
But I feel like Tarantino is not. People won't watch a Spielberg movie as much as they will a Tarantino movie.
Yes, not because
for the directors.
Yeah, he tapped into something so unique. Like, there was nothing like what he was doing in.
How do you describe what he does?
Well, I think he describes as like there's influence from certain like Asian cinema that he incorporates into what he does. Like with the Kill Bills and that, all these like dramatic fight scenes and that, he got a lot of that from these other things. But it's all just so unique, and it always ends unexpectedly. And it's so in your face and gory, but it's also kind of funny. It literally taps into everything. Like, if you can handle the gore, like, there's always a bit of comedic value with it too.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
What did you think of that? I watched that. I thought it was strange.
I thought it was really good because it was a slow burner. It was such a slow movie where it's hard to do now, but you've got to just watch that movie. I can't be on my phone scrolling, looking at something else. Because you're not engaged with it. And he's one of the only ones where he will hold my attention for a movie.
Yes.
I won't rewatch that one though. It's a bit too much for me to get through that whole thing rewatching it. Because I don't enjoy it as much as a lot of the other ones, but I enjoyed it watching it.
I said I'd rewatch it after I watched it because I felt like I didn't understand everything. I felt like I was just missing a couple of things. So I thought rewatching it would help. I just haven't. Because it's a big movie.
Yeah. It's 2.5, 3 hours. It's long.
What other movies are there?
See, like, it's...
I'm trying to think.
And they're not even sequels, because each of them, what I like about it, it's its own complete story.
Yes.
I like that. It's a different... I don't know what to expect. Which good series do, which is why they become good. But at some point, I always get over a series. Maybe
it's a byproduct. Like, I don't always go in, but I'll enjoy movies that are based on a true story I guess like that Gotti movie.
Yeah.
More than just made up movies.
Because it can be more relatable.
Yeah.
Because even though it's completely dramatized, and it's probably a lot of shit that isn't how it happened.
Of course.
Some of it's kind of real.
Yeah.
It kind of links back to something that you can relate to a bit better.
Thinking of it, wasn't Uncut Gems based on a real gem dealer?
I can't remember.
I feel like it might have been loosely. I could be completely wrong here. Loosely based or something.
Makes it easy to kill the main character, then, if that's what happened in real life.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
It's like we're just showing what happened.
And even you like, you know, My All American, which is on Netflix. It's a great documentary. It's a sad movie on. Do you know the movie?
Yeah, was he a running back?
I think so. Don't say what happened in case someone's going to watch it.
Yeah.
But it's a sad
movie
ending,
for
but
sure. Yeah.
just
I
his
remember the ending now.
toughness and just like going through the pain, like that's something that you, like another thing to draw from.
They're my favorite. Like one of my favorite movies ever. Actually, this is one I've rewatched. I forgot to say is Coach Carter.
I haven't watched that yet.
Based on it, it's based on a true story. This coach who goes in and just like gets these kids in line and like basketball is your way out of this shit situation you're in now.
That's cool.
And he's pushing these kids and he's like, that's the dad you need if you're in that situation. Essentially, like he's that figure that's going to get you out of some shit.
And probably the reason they're in that situation is because they don't have that dad.
Yeah. Or the dad that's there is
Yeah.
like he's not great. Like he's not. They're not giving him the same kind of attention and pushing him as much as this guy is.
Yeah.
And they tend to be my favorite movies too. Tarantino movies they're my favorite for a different reason. It's pure entertainment value. But I will mostly watch movies and rewatch movies it's sport movies that are ones I think I rewatch the most.
Yes.
They're based on real life sport movie. Because it's an avenue growing up, like I wanted to go through, but I never put the effort or even knew what it took. So I missed out on that. But that was my own fault, of course. But I can see like
relatability.
Yeah, I can relate to this sport person. Like, boom, they're trying to get there. It's not always themselves who gets themselves there. They have these influences. It helps.
Yes.
And there is ones where these guys are just mentally strong people who get through everything by themselves, essentially, with a little bit of guidance. And you're like, that's cool. That's where I can take things from movies. So I shouldn't have said I take nothing from movies, but maybe movies based on real life, it's easier to take something from. Easier to get some motivation or take bits of like, oh, fuck. Sometimes you just got to hone down and do it.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in to the number 5 podcast in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys. Peace.
See ya.